All right. Also, regarding no, no, not well, I've done like interviews with like for like I interview a podcast and such, but I mean, in terms of like a live stream, actual thing, no. Wonderful, wonderful. A quick thing regarding Arlene Sorkin. The source has not been verified. I think it is true, but like it hasn't been like verified. Right, exactly. So it's yeah, just in case. Yeah, exactly. Right, right, right. Wonderful. Really? Ugh. Humiliating. Ye- yeah, I'm just not. I don't feel comfortable like putting my actual, um, like location. Even though, like, honestly, if you if you looked like through my friends and all that stuff, like you could probably trace like like a good idea of where I probably am.
Hello.
Yo,
Welcome to episode 4 of Quality Not Included. My name's Billy, this is Chaz.
what up?
And we have a special guest this week,
Yep,
the
animator
TheRetroOreo.
and YouTuber, most known for the notorious SpongeBob movie Rehydrated.
Yep,
The
yep,
man
yep.
that put it all together.
Let's go. So, Angel, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, hello. I was a co-host of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie Rehydrated. I am also an animator and things. Hi.
Great. So we've got a pretty stacked list of news this week. We've been gone for a week and a half. So, first things first, all of us here would like to take a minute and just pay our respects to those who have passed away this week. Starting off with two professional wrestlers who have passed away, Terry Funk and Wyndham Rotunda, also known as Bray Wyatt.
Yep.
It was also broken today that Bob Barker has passed away, and while this one hasn't been confirmed, it is being speculated that voice actress Arlene Sorkin has also passed away. So all of us here would like to send our respects out to them, our well wishes to the family. But let's get on to some better news. First things first this week. Hank Green has
Yep.
announced that he is in remission from cancer.
Yep, I think it hit everyone like a dump truck.
Oh, it
when
did.
it broke that he had cancer. It's one of those things where you're like, what? That's impossible.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? But yeah, he's in remission. But I
Which
mean,
is
when
phenomenal.
you're got big YouTube money and all that thing, you can get the best medicine. But I think it's great.
It's great.
He seems to have a great
It's
attitude
wonderful.
about it.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful. Hank is one of the best online personalities, in my opinion. One of the most wholesome.
He's cool. His brother annoys the crap out of me, though. I'm not a big fan of John Green, but Hank's cool. Hank's cool.
He's got some good books.
Yes. Angel, are you a Hank Green fan? Is this news important to you, or?
I know of him, like, but I haven't really followed much of his work. No.
So what YouTube channels exactly was he responsible for? I know he did Crash Course. Which
No,
Yeah.
that was John Green.
That was John Green.
Right.
Hank Green's
right.
more known for his music.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of things with like Wheezy Waiter and Andrew Wong and Rob Scallon and Harry and the Potters. He's done a lot of different like kind of indie folk musical projects, and he's toured for many years. And he's mostly known as John Green's brother. You know, he kind of has that title as well.
I've noticed he mainly makes content on TikTok now, which is
Yes.
that's kind of the place to do it.
Him and John do. Yeah,
Yeah.
they've made quite a bit of gained quite a bit of following on that social media platform.
Mm-hmm.
So this is great news. I think
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
with a lot of like the tragedy that's happened this past week, and I know for you especially with Terry and Bray, I think this is some good news to kind of levy that.
Lift the spirits
exactly.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In other great news, and this is good for the SAG-AFTRA strikes and the WGA,
The
the WGA
Would you say
strikes.
WAG?
I did.
The WAG?
So, a judge has ruled that AI-generated art cannot receive copyright, which one of the big things that all of the studios have been saying is, okay, you're striking, well, we're just going to use AI to continue.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
fear. What it has come out is that one of the things that the AMTP wanted to do was take like a scan,
Of their faces.
and they would get like a couple $100 for it, which is just outrageous. Outrageous. Well, if they were to do that, they're fucked because now they wouldn't be able to copyright their work.
Yeah.
So let's say like, some big Marvel movie comes out and they scanned all the actors and used AI and whatnot. Oh, well, now I can just take this little Marvel movie and do whatever I want with it.
Yep.
Because it's not copyrighted.
Yep. And honestly, this is great for, people like you, Angel, who are in animation. Like, now your art style, if someone uses AI to attempt to replicate that,
Right.
they can't profit off of it.
However, Angel, I am curious of your opinion. Not too long ago, because we can add this.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw this, but an individual, a YouTuber, made a short film, a stop motion film of Scooby-Doo, and used a little bit of AI for the voices. He got destroyed on social media. Now, he had some support, like, you guys are dogging on, like, this is the wrong thing to do. But, like, well-known voice actress, Gray Dial, or Gray Griffin, who you might know as, like, the voice of Daphne and Azula from The Last Airbender and countless others. She, like, said, we're going to blacklist him from the from the industry.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of weird. Like, I feel like there's a lot of YouTubers out there using AI for their work. Well, this puts them in a weird position now because their work can't be copyrighted.
Yeah.
So, Angel, I'm curious what your perspective on this is.
It's really complicated. First of all, the animation itself, like, I adore dearly. It was beautifully done. But yeah, no, like, the use of AI was not, the best choice. But the creator, animator, themselves, came forward, saying, to, like,
He had like a shoestring budget.
right, yeah, like they meant no, no, like
Harm or
no
anything,
harm
yeah.
or like ill will, and that they explicitly wouldn't and never really intended to use AI again after it. It was just like a little like a little like experiment, just to
Exactly.
and it's complicated because like in regarding the voice actors themselves, it's really like their concern is very genuine. Like
absolutely.
it is absolutely a real concern. But I think like in the case of that creator, like like they settled things with Gray and a few others who were like involved in that conversation. But I think it's fine now. But it's really a complicated, like, tight-ropey, thing to like walk on.
Yeah. Well, so I know a lot of people have been worried, especially in music as well, about the use of AI in terms of replicating someone's voice. And Grimes, the music artist Grimes, she made her voice pretty much fair use. Like, you can officially use artificial intelligence to replicate Grimes' voice and credit her on the song, and you can make profit off of it. And
Right.
she makes profit off of that as
Yeah.
well. So I feel like if you're comfortable enough to really put your voice out there and you're okay with it, then I feel like using AI in that capacity is okay as long as you have consent from the creator.
Exactly.
But
Right.
especially with things like Dolly and ChatGPT to some extent, if you're
Mm-hmm.
writing in the style of someone else, like people don't know when they are being replicated.
Well, and this is why when people on social media go so hard on the studios, it's like, yeah, the studios are being greedy. This is nothing new. But when they're like, they just want to use AI and they're lazy and they want to take away the jobs from the actors and writers.
Yeah.
No. If this like is a precedent set that AI work won't be copyrighted. If I was a producer, I'm gonna like put in a clause of a contract. If you're a writer or actor,
Right,
there's-
exactly.
or especially writer, you are not allowed to use AI stuff.
Yeah.
We want your full written material. So I think in this case, I feel like studios and writers especially will agree, because writers don't want their jobs taken away from AI, but producers are like, hey, we want to be able to copyright this so we can make money off of it.
Absolutely.
We want your full written material.
Yeah, and
Right.
the one of the main reasons why I decided to put this on the docket for this week is because of Netflix and Disney posted AI job listings, and now they're not able to copyright the material.
So that
Wow.
job is going to go whoop out the
yeah,
window.
that job,
Yes.
like I think what the Netflix one was like for $900,000 a year.
Which is just insane.
But-
just
but-
insane.
But now that job is pointless.
Yeah.
Because for the $900,000
But
a
at
year,
the end
for
of the
something you
day,
can
AI is still a
copyright.
tool.
Absolutely.
Like,
Right.
think like auto-tune.
Yeah.
That's a tool. So I think you're going to see, we're just in the infancy of this issue.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
You're going to see a lot more twists and turns in the process of where it's like, okay, we now have the parameters set. AI can be used in certain
Right.
aspects and still be copyrighted, but if you use if 75% of your work or more is AI generated, then it can't be copyright. I'm just spitballing here and
Right.
just kind of speculating.
Yeah.
But I don't think this is going to be the president because I know it's a useful tool at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So I guess we'll just have to see.
Yeah,
Indeed.
it's I know that for a long time there have been, especially when it comes to like school coursework, there have been things that professors have been able to plug like works into, and it'll tell you the percentage that has been copyrighted. But at this point, like ChatGPT has gotten so good that
Yeah.
It
can
still has a
bypass
long way
those
to go,
softwares.
though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's really good for small, little, hey, recommend me this, or can you... And it listens to you, and it takes, what you're saying and puts
Right.
that into account as you ask
Right.
it multiple questions. But if you ask it to write, a little movie script, it's awful.
yeah,
It's
Yeah,
still
absolutely.
not there yet.
maybe it can come up with good ideas, but the human element that people really connect to isn't there yet, and it's going to be really scary when it is there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The fact that we're we're only at the tip of the iceberg of the effect or the amount of like sorry
The amount of AI being used.
more so the ability to distinguish AI from reality, or from actual real written works. It it is. It will be frightening. When that line is ever more blurred.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
over the years.
And that's why you're going
It
to
is.
see it way more strict and a lot more rules and regulations
Yes.
in its use.
Absolutely. Well, carrying on a little bit here, the next thing on the docket, Amazon Prime's Fallout television show. So we've been getting little teaser images here and there. Like I'm in a Facebook group that posts the teaser images, but it got a timeline of release for 2024, which is really exciting for Bethesda and Fallout fans. you
now,
know,
does that mean it's been written before the strikes?
I
And
think
production's already like been wrapped up or something? Like,
so. I am not entirely sure that this is being
because
made.
I haven't heard anything about. I remember when this was
Right.
announced, and then just things went silent. And now
Yeah.
we have a 2024 release.
So it's been incredibly active. So they haven't been active socially, but like the groups that I'm a part of, almost daily you're getting new behind the scenes looks.
Do they have a cast or anything?
That I'm not sure has been released. Mainly
Okay.
all the behind the scenes looks have been
Okay.
It's probably the
pictures of
SAG strike.
locations.
They can't pull out
Yeah.
casting.
Right. Okay.
But no, this is big news, and after a lot of people were really excited about The Last of Us, hopes are high for the Fallout show, and the Fallout universe is such.
It's ripe for storytelling.
Oh, it really is, because you can really do anything post-apocalyptically.
Now the question is like, how lore involved are they going to be? What creatures are they going to use? Are we going to see like super mutants and things like that?
I feel like
I'm really curious. And like, where's it going to be? Like, are we going to go
So
with the
it's-
New Vegas
No,
side of
so
things?
it's taking place in Los Angeles. That has
Okay,
been announced.
okay.
That has been announced.
So
That was in the
we're
official
West
release.
Coast. So that
West
means
Coast.
we're probably going to see like, um,
Some stuff from Fallout New Vegas. Like
Well,
we
right.
might get Three Dog.
no, that's Fallout 3.
Oh
That's,
wait,
that's
no,
East
you're
Coast.
right. You're right. That is
Fake
East Coast.
fan.
Listen, man, Fallout 4 is my favorite.
Fallout what? What? Okay. Anyway,
But, yeah.
no. They've got the two-headed bear flag. Golly,
Oh,
what
the New California Republic.
New California Republic. Yeah.
Fake fan.
Yeah. We'll probably see them because they're
Oh, yeah.
they're a very prominent faction in
absolutely.
the West Coast.
And in the teaser images that I've been seeing in the Facebook groups, those flags have been
That's
a part of it.
interesting. Okay.
I'm not sure the official vault number. I know they did release a vault number, but we got an official vault number released, and I'm sure we'll get like the rad roaches and the super mutants.
I hope it's practical. I really hope. And see, Amazon's got deep pockets, so I really hope
That's
it's
true.
practical.
Yes.
So they haven't given us an official release date. They've only gone with 2024, which is still really exciting.
Angel, is this something you're excited about, or are you a Fallout fan, or?
Not particularly. I haven't had much. I haven't had much experience with either. Fallout like media.
Fair. No, Fallout, it's, Bethesda themselves are very well regarded and also not very well regarded publisher in the video game sphere. People were really upset with Fallout 76 upon launch. Granted, people have come to love it a little bit more, but like the Elder Scrolls, that's one of the biggest
Right.
biggest game series of all time, and who knows, maybe we'll get an Elder Scrolls series out of this, because The Witcher did great, Game of Thrones did great, the Dungeons and Dragons movie did great. I think there's
Right.
a lot of
Yes.
interest in like a high fantasy setting.
Yeah.
And if Amazon is already doing the Fallout show, it makes sense that they might, well, and depending on the success of it, they might try to dip their toes into doing an Elder Scrolls show.
We can
That's
only
possible.
We can only hope.
We can only hope.
Yep.
So this next one, there's still a lot of unknowns about this situation, but essentially the Blind Side football player that the movie is based around,
Michael Oher.
And if you don't know the story, essentially a suburbia family adopted this kid, and he turned out to be incredibly great at football, and he became like a superstar. Well, apparently that was all fake. Allegedly, according to the football player, that was all faked. He was never adopted, and any profits that were being made when all this was going down, he never got any of.
Never got a penny of it.
Now, I think there's still a lot more information to come out because the family is denying the allegations. So this is obviously going to go to court, and it's going to be crazy.
Right. Of course.
I remember when this movie came out, it was a huge deal. People loved this movie. I think it was even nominated for Best Picture. It was a pretty huge movie. And I remember that the football player was there promoting the film. So either he just found this out, or something went down in the behind the scenes. It's hard to I don't know. I'm a little torn on it.
I think he may have. Yeah. So Michael Oher, the football player that The Blind Side is based on, was under a conservatorship for a long
That's
time.
right. That's right.
Which Britney Spears is also was
Course.
someone
Famously,
else who
infamously,
Right.
was also
yeah.
under one.
So maybe that was something that he couldn't talk about, But according to I just pulled up news about it, the producers of The Blind Side have called his accusations false. So now we're getting into he said she said
Yeah,
territory.
they're gonna go to court, and it's gonna be just a shit show. I
Yeah.
mean, Angel, I don't even think you were how old were you when this movie came out?
It came out in 2009.
Yeah,
Doesn't-
do you remember
wow,
how old I was in
I would've-
2009? I was like,
I would have
10,
been.
11.
I was a.
I would have
we
been
were babies.
8-ish.
Yeah, I would have been 9. So
Wow.
I can't say that I've ever actually seen this movie. I've
Well,
never.
Right.
white Karens love this movie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Conservative Twitter loves this movie.
Yeah, I've never been a sports movie fan unless it's like Space Jam. We don't talk about Space
I
Jam.
really do like Sandra Bullock in the role.
Yeah.
She did great with what she had. And then a lot of morons were like, "Take her Oscar away." And
Right.
the actor that played the football player was like, "Guys, she had nothing to do with it. What the hell's wrong with you?"
Yeah, yeah. It's like the actors who were hired to perform those roles are not responsible for Michael Oher's conservatorship or the potential lies that
Right.
were spread.
Yeah, and
so
the movie's a glorification of an already glorified story.
Yeah.
That's the whole
Right.
point. It's a dramatization.
Yeah.
So the movie's not gospel. You shouldn't take anything.
Right,
that the movie
exactly.
says.
Exactly. But moving on from talking about that,
Tragedy.
This is another tragedy. So Charles Martinet, famously
Yeah.
the voice of Mario, Wario, like all
Luigi.
every character you can
Since
think of was probably
64.
voiced.
Since
six-
Super
yeah.
Mario 64, he's been voicing this character.
He announced that he will no longer be the voice of Mario.
He is retired. Yeah, he's now
Wow.
now an ambassador of Mario.
Yeah.
So he'll still
Also-
do fan meets and
Yeah,
whatnot
fan
like
meet
that.
and greets, but like any future Mario IPs will not feature his voice.
Most recent one, Mario Wonder. His voices are not in that.
Mm-hmm.
So any gameplay you've heard, that's not Charles Martinet doing the voices. So they already have a replacement.
Yeah.
Okay.
And since a lot of people didn't even know, they hired someone well because they sound pretty great in the trailer.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to see who his replacement was so we can give them a shout out.
Yeah, I don't know if it's been officially announced who it is.
It is currently
Yeah,
unknown.
but they got somebody because he is not in Mario Wonder. They confirmed that.
Yeah.
So whoever
I know
is
that
doing a
when,
good job. Talk about big
when-
plumber shoes to fill. Jesus.
Absolutely, yes. When Clips of Wonder came out recently, I know people were skeptical, skeptical, because it didn't sound quite right, and I think that got people wondering if it was Charles, but to see it confirm that it isn't him.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Did they confirm that he won't be voicing in in the games at all, or
Yes, he
or
is done.
just as Mario? Wow, I
He's
see.
completely
Okay,
done.
Yeah.
okay.
His
Wow.
last voicing role was the Mario movie. So a lot
Yeah.
of people are sharing on Twitter. He voiced the dad in Jumpman.
Yeah.
So his last lines as in a Mario project was him going, "These are my boys."
Yep.
So it's very
Aw.
sweet. It's very sweet.
Yeah. Also,
I mean, the dude is pushing. God, look how old he
Yeah.
is. I
Yeah.
mean, the
No,
guy is
totally.
going to voice these
Absolutely.
characters forever.
and he's most well known for Mario, but he has such a diverse.
Oh,
He
absolutely.
was Parthenax in Skyrim,
Which is crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
which is crazy to think about.
But see, think of it this way.
Absolutely.
The internet lost his shit when Chris Pratt was announced as the voice actor for
Mhm.
Mario. And actually, he did a pretty decent job in the movie.
I mean,
he was
he
fine.
was fine.
Was he the best choice?
no, it was just Chris Pratt putting on a Brooklyn accent.
But I thought he was. I thought he was good. And honestly, I'm kind of glad that it was a normal voice because I don't think I
Right.
would have wanted to hear "Wahoo! Here we go" for
Yeah,
2 hours.
yeah.
No,
Fair.
thank you.
Fair. We're gonna move this down to when we're talking about that
Okay,
later.
sure thing.
So we're gonna jump to some more animation topics.
Okay.
The Scott Pilgrim anime trailer dropped. So this kind of blew my mind when I read about it. The cast from the live action movie is
Mhm.
voice acting
Yep.
the characters.
which is just
Yep.
insane. I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah, Chris Evans, Aubrey Plaza, Michael
They
Cera.
everybody,
They got
Every,
everybody,
all
which
of
is
them. It's
so
amazing.
fantastic.
See, I kind of knew this was possible because they did that anniversary script reading, and
Mhm.
nearly everybody came back for that.
Mhm.
Even Chris Evans, who's like a mega superstar.
Yeah, Captain
He-
America.
He was like, he stayed there for most of it. He had to leave because he's a busy guy.
Yeah.
But even he came back and he was like, voiced his 5 lines, because he was one of the side. Like at
Yeah.
that point when that movie came out, he wasn't.
He was one of the 70.
He wasn't Captain America yet when that.
No,
film
he
came
wasn't.
out.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, yes.
The fact that they got everybody and it looks just like the manga, which is great.
It's-
I'm very excited. But
Oh my god. Yeah.
film Twitter is just cringy as always because now we're getting a bunch of things of like, oh wow, Scott Pilgrim's a bad guy. No shit. Like you're late to the party. That's the whole point.
So, Angel, you might know this. Do you know what animation studio is behind it?
Oh, gee, I remember reading it, but I don't remember what actually. Let me check. Like, I might be wrong, but like, a studio Theorem or something. That sounds vaguely familiar. I'm not sure honestly. I can't remember. But I do remember looking at it, and
Let's see.
I just forgot the name.
I'm gonna pull up the actual trailer and see if they. I don't think it says the animation studio. So it talks
Nice.
about the executive producers. I mean, the trailer itself looks fantastic.
Yeah, incredible trailer.
What? Oh, absolutely, yes.
So it's called Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. November 17th is the release date for it.
Oh yes.
is
Science
very soon.
Oh,
I
Saru.
can't believe
Science Saru, yeah. So do you know what other projects have they done before? Do you know?
Looking at their Wikipedia right now, they've, let's see, they've done a handful of animated series, feature films. From what I'm seeing now, they, okay, so their first animation was for the food chain episode of Adventure Time.
Oh wow.
Um,
So this
they've
seems
also
to be their biggest project. Like high
apparently.
profile.
I would imagine that they've done like other things like of note, but let's see, Star Wars Visions,
Oh, okay.
things along those lines. That's just what I'm like, reading here, but
I know they've done some other like Netflix original anime series. So I
Mhm.
think this is save for maybe Adventure Time. I think this is definitely their biggest.
Oh, I think this is their biggest because it's like
It's
it's all
yeah.
it's they're not doing an episode of a show. They're doing the whole
Right.
show. It's all them. It's their style. I mean, this is pretty high profile.
Yeah, and
Absolutely,
and
it's
looking
beautiful.
at so once the trailer was dropped, obviously people fell in love with it, and a lot of people were showing like side by side still images
Yeah.
Mhm.
from the animated trailer and the movie, and they look
Yes.
pretty similar. So
Ugh.
I'm hoping that the show itself maybe granted the storyline is one that you kind of have to stick to, but I hope it's not just an animated version. I hope they
I
take
don't
Yes.
think it
liberties.
is. I don't think it is. 'Cause
Yeah.
even
Now-
in the trailer, there's so many new scenes that aren't in the movie.
yes,
And 2 things. One, this movie has been gaining such a strong cult following.
Absolutely.
Because it did fine when it came out, but over time, more and more people are discovering it,
Oh, it's a
growing
cult
up.
classic,
They love
yeah.
it. I think the show's going to be hella popular. And if there's
Absolutely.
anything, if you're worried about the quality of it because it's Netflix, their original stuff is kind of hit or miss sometimes. Look at Cyberpunk Edge Runners, which is a very successful anime based on a popular IP at the time. I think we're in good hands.
Yeah.
We got a good studio, the original cast, produced by the creator of the original film. I'm excited.
Yeah, and
Now-
go
yes,
ahead, Angel.
absolutely.
Go ahead, Angel.
Sorry. I wanted to say quickly regarding the story of the series. The storyline. So Brian Lee O'Malley explicitly said on his on an Instagram story that the anime is like not the book. See,
Oh, okay.
it is like its own thing.
So
It
even
isn't
better,
like
we're getting
it isn't like a
fresh Scott
yeah,
Pilgrim
exactly.
stuff.
It isn't like a word for word remake. No,
Yeah, we're getting fresh Scott Pilgrim
it is
content.
Great.
absolutely.
Color me happy.
Absolutely. So
It's
Chaz,
wonderful.
yeah. So Chaz, you'll probably take the reins on this one because
I just want to give a quick shout out for it because it's not huge news.
Well, and I don't even know what it is. So I'll
It's
let
good that you don't because your ass could not handle this movie. There's no chance in hell you would like this movie.
I'm gonna look it up.
Toxic Avenger, a classic '70s film.
I think I remember.
From Lloyd Kaufman. Is that his name?
Ooh.
Oh,
Yes.
I've seen this before. I've seen it before.
You have?
Not seen the movie, but I've seen the posters and the figures.
Look up the creator. I think it's Lloyd Kaufman. I don't want to get that wrong.
Lloyd Kaufman and Michael.
Yeah.
Burns.
Okay. So Lloyd Kaufman, legendary like B movie creator from the '70s. Toxic Avenger was kind of like one of the first superhero movies, and one of the first parodies of superhero movies too. Mm-hmm. It's basically about like this wimpy janitor getting like radioactive material on him, and he turns into this big hulking monster. And it's like a love story, and he fights like these evil gang that like runs over children for point. Like it's a crazy ass movie.
Right.
And it's like okay, you hear like this could never be made today, and anybody who says
Right.
that's stupid. This movie could not be made today. And if I'm saying that, it's 100% true. I remember watching this movie and I was like, oh my god. But it's pretty fun. It's really funny.
That's
It's just
wonderful.
really eyebrow raising too. So we've
That's
got
amazing.
a remake coming with Peter Dinklage and a few other names, and I think Peter Dinklage is playing the Toxic Avenger, which is just great casting.
Okay.
But we got our first image. It's just like it's literally just one image of like the monster in the shadows, and he's got a mop and everything, and I'm like, it's happening, which is making me excited. But just the more I've read on it, remakes, they're hit and miss.
Yeah.
I would be very curious to see how an updated version of this story plays. Because just trying to do a try and true remake of the original would be difficult. So if we're
Right.
doing like a new, fresh telling of this story, I'm all for it.
Yep.
I'm all for it because I think with a modern eye, because Toxic Avenger is way ahead of its time when you look at the surge of Marvel and DC and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm cautiously optimistic. I love the cast. I like the image. It's mysterious. I'm very excited to see how it does.
Absolutely. Well, to stick on to things that you have a passion for, I think it happened last year that we got the announcement of it. But the Killer Clowns from Outer Space video game is officially back on.
Yes.
So we were getting updates for a while, and then I think we got a trailer. I think it may have been back in March.
I think that's when they announced it, that they dropped like a teaser for it.
But then after that, the studio behind it went radio silent, and no news was happening for this game.
And that's normal for games like this.
Yeah, and
just
then
very little news until it's like actually happening.
Yeah, and so in when that happened, a lot of people were like, "Oh, well, it's canned. This game isn't going to be made." The developers on the official Killer Clowns game Discord have announced that starting this month in August, updates are going to keep continuing about the game.
Wow.
So them coming and saying that they are now starting back up makes me think that the game may have been shelved for a bit.
Honestly, like any news is good news.
Any news is good news.
Because production hell for video games is
and
such an easy
Absolutely,
trap
yes.
to fall in.
Well, and looking at this Killer Clowns game, it reminds me a lot of the Friday the 13th game. And the upcoming Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, where it's really like a Dead by Daylight kind of like one person's playing the monster, the rest of you are trying to survive and achieve a common
So
goal.
it's probably not gonna be like the best game of all time,
No.
but it's cool that there's
Right.
still love for this IP.
Yeah.
It's easily one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It's a B movie gem. So any love, any media being released on it makes me happy.
Absolutely. And, I think there's been a lot of praise for the upcoming Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. So, who knows? Maybe this game is going to get a lot of love, too, once it drops. I hope so.
Absolutely.
Hopefully they drop a beta soon. I know the Texas Chainsaw beta has been out for a bit, so... Yeah, that's great news for you, Chess. But continuing on the video game news, that's great for everybody. So a few weeks ago...
Well, yeah, we announced that... we didn't announce, but we had talked about how J.K. Simmons will be voicing Omni-Man in Mortal Kombat 1. And we had speculated, Look, if they got JK, there's no chance in hell they didn't get John Cena. And
They
sure
got
enough,
Cena!
they got Cena! Yes, as Peacemaker.
And
I am buying this game day one. I'm so excited.
I think they also confirmed that I forget his name, but the guy who played Homelander.
No, they have not confirmed him yet.
They have not confirmed
There
Homelander.
is still
Okay.
no confirmation if Anthony Goldstar is reprising his role as Homelander.
But Cena is in Mortal Kombat.
I'm telling you, okay, like, apparently Anthony Goldstar was in, like, a Modern Warfare game.
Yeah.
So, like, he has video game experience. They got JK and John Cena.
Right.
Why? How and why would Anthony Goldstar not want to do it to work alongside those dudes? And how could they, if they got those two actors, how could they not get Anthony? So I'm confident. I would bet money that in the next few weeks or days, because the game's coming out soon in September.
In September. Oh well, I mean, I feel like if they got to get him now, or they're not going to get him.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's just a matter of time before they announce it.
Yeah, unless they, because I know that this is an additional DLC pack for the game, so maybe they're going to push back the release date a bit, which could help.
So
that, but
playing these kind of games, these new Mortal Kombat games and Injustice games, it's just fun to pit the characters at each other because they all have these quips that they say to each other. Hearing John Cena, JK's voice, quipping back and forth is worth the price of admission.
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
I can't wait.
100%.
Angel, is this something you're looking forward to? Are you a Mortal Kombat fan? Is this DC
No.
DLC interesting?
For the most part, I'm not into games. But I did very much know that at the very least, J.K. Simmons was going to be reprising his role of Omni-Man. So that like that alone is really interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it says a lot too about video games more recently, like, have been able to get bigger names to play.
Right.
Now, granted, like, these are roles that these actors have played before.
Right.
But, and and we'll touch on this a little bit later, but I think a huge boost for voice acting has been from Critical Role. Knowing that all of them have been anime and animation voice actors, and people's love for that have been like, oh, voice acting is a thing? Maybe I want to try my hand at that.
100% agree, but I do agree with the sense that, like, we're seeing voice actors and actors in general step outside their comfort zone more often because there's money to be made, there's success to be had. It's not like back in the day where if an actor did something like this, it probably would spell a disaster for their career, or it would be looked at like with weird. It would be looked on with caution. Nowadays, it's like, oh, John Cena is going to be in this new Mortal Kombat game. Hell yes. You know, there's no stigma against it.
Yeah, well, and, granted, there have been plenty of films, animated films in the past that have had stacked voice casts. Like, look at most of the American voice cast for, like, the Ghibli movies.
Yeah.
Like, in Howl's Moving Castle, we got Christian Bale, which, he was great. And granted, John Cena has voice acted before. He was Ferdinand.
He was Ferdinand. Yes, he was.
And obviously John Cena has also had voice acting experience with the WWE video games.
He's like the spokesman for like the Honda cars, or like Honda go places or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, This is so John Cena will do anything, and he loves this character so much.
I mean, he was in Barbie.
I think it was you that said to me that there's not a world that exists where Cena's not doing this.
Yeah. Like, well, especially with how much that he has been on the record to say that he loves playing Peacemaker. And
it's easily his best performance.
Well, and also, like, when they announced this fighter pack, the Peacemaker model was John Cena's likeness.
It's James Gunn's iteration of the character.
So, I see.
Yeah, so I didn't see a world where Cena would be okay with giving them his likeness, but
it's
not
got his chin, and it's like that's Cena. Like when he takes that helmet off, it's gonna be Cena.
Exactly. So like, if he allowed his likeness to be used in this video game,
he's playing it.
He why wouldn't he voice it? There's no reason that he wouldn't. And John Cena's John Cena.
Yeah, he's great.
He's great.
This is gonna be fun. It's getting me even more excited for the game, which I'm already excited for. Cannot wait.
Absolutely,
yeah.
So moving on to some pretty big news.
This is easily probably the biggest thing we'll talk about today.
Yeah.
It's nuts. But Warner Brothers has officially announced that they're delaying Dune 2 to 2024. March. of
Yeah.
2024.
When was the initial release date slated for Dune 2? I know it was later this year, obviously. I'm wanting to say like
November,
November.
I
Yeah,
think?
I'm wanting to say November.
It was coming up. So why is this huge news? It's for a couple reasons. There was
November
speculation.
3rd
Yeah,
was the original release date.
it was going to be pitted up against
Okay.
the Marvels.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like that's kind of like the two big films of that month. The reason this is huge news is there was speculation that the studio would do this because of the SAG strikes, because they don't have the actors, because this is a pretty big cast in this film.
like Timothée Chalamet.
Zendaya, Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Dave Bautista.
Yeah, Dave Bautista.
Just to name a few. I mean, it's a really huge cast.
Oh yeah, Austin Butler, Florence Pugh.
And
Yeah. Stellan Skarsgård. I thought he passed away.
a film like this can only be helped with like a press
just
tour
Momoa's.
and a premiere. You want the actors to talk about the film.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there was a lot of speculation that this film could make bank because the first one, even during the height of the pandemic and a dumbass day-and-day release on streaming and theaters, still managed to make $400 million worldwide.
Yeah, well, and Dune is such a beloved science
Well, and people
fiction
love the
series.
film. So if with this sequel, like, we can only go up from here.
Absolutely, yeah, and you know, Dune.
But now they've pushed it back.
Yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts on this, Billy? I'm curious because I
So-
think it was a dumb decision.
So, obviously this is a remake of the original Dune movies,
Yes,
which
yes.
were directed by one of my favorite directors, David Lynch.
Yes, that's right.
David Lynch
Yeah.
of Twin Peaks fame. I absolutely adore David Lynch. But Dune itself is
A very famous book series.
very famous. Like it's heralded up there with Dragonlance and
Like one of
yeah.
the pinnacle science fiction novels.
So I haven't seen the new Dunes at all, but a movie like this that has so much behind it, and we've had trailers for it for so long, and the cast is so stacked. Seeing something like this, which is really a monolith when you look at movies being released this year, like Dune 2 is
It's
probably
definitely up there, yeah.
It's one of the most anticipated. Seeing it get pushed back is huge news for the actors.
It shows me that like the studios are feeling the heat, which is great.
Absolutely,
But
they
here's
are.
the thing: I'm looking at it from studio side. Warner Brothers are dumbasses, dude.
Yeah.
They're making
Oh, yeah.
mega bank with Barbie, and they're just this is Warner Brothers. They're throwing money away now because the film's already done, but now you've got more marketing budget you've got to spend. Because you're
I
gonna have to advertise this film come its March release. And somebody put it brilliantly on Twitter. Has Warner Brothers not been paying attention how much money Oppenheimer's making?
$700
Right.
million.
Their cast left at the premiere, and the movie, as we're going to talk about, has made over $700 million worldwide.
Right.
You don't you're leaving money. You're taking money off the table. I think this is an absurdly stupid decision.
Yeah.
But I'm cheering for the actors because this is showing that the studios are feeling the heat.
Well, and
Because they wouldn't have done this if it didn't matter to them.
Well, and think about this too. They're willingly pushing the movie back, knowing that they are going to spend potentially millions more dollars on marketing budget. When instead of pushing it back, they could have just acquiesced and paid
Yes.
the actors
Yes.
and the
Yeah,
writers.
true.
You know what's even dumber? Aquaman 2, still slated to release this December. That's the movie we don't fucking reschedule?
But-
We
okay.
rescheduled Dune
Okay.
2?
But who's gonna go see that movie?
Dude,
Let's
well,
be
as we'll
real.
talk about with Blue Beetle in a second, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
this is a dumb decision. Hooray for the actors, because this is easily a big win. But I think Warner Brothers, it's hot and cold with them in their decision.
Totally.
Great with Barbie.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna fucking reschedule this the release date for this film that has all the chances of making us another $1 billion, and now we're gonna wait till March. And March, you got November with its with the Thanksgiving weekend. That's money. Oh my God, they're so stupid.
Yeah, it's true.
Angel, what are your thoughts on this? One, are you a Dune fan at all? Have you seen the first remake Dune? Or,
I have.
and what's your decision? What's your thoughts on this, just as a decision in and of itself?
I have no exposure to really any Dune media, remake, book or otherwise.
I haven't
but
either, so don't worry.
that's totally that's totally fair. But yeah, I know it is interesting. it is interesting. Like it's seeing how they respond to this particularly amid the strike.
Hmm.
It's very interesting and very telling
Yeah, yeah,
of their priorities.
yeah. Because I guarantee the amount of money that they're going to spend having to remarket this would have been the amount of money that they probably
Right.
needed to put into the SAG after strikes to be
Yeah.
like it just it
Ugh.
doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Yeah. Well, moving on. Again, another like talking about Warner Brothers shit in the bed. Blue Beetle came out last weekend
Yep.
and it's
Yeah.
coming into its second weekend.
Yep.
The movie debuted with an 86% Rotten Tomato score.
Yeah,
It's got
which
a
is great.
decent.
Yeah.
I think it's come down to a respectable 77
Yeah.
since that information
I'm
came
gonna
out.
Okay.
pull it up on Letterboxd. I want to see what people are saying about it.
And it's getting decent reviews. People seem to be really enjoying it. The problem is, it's
Hey, 3.2.
barely cracked 60 mil worldwide.
Yeah, 3.2.
And we're coming into its
I
second
see.
weekend. This film was from the get-go destined to flop, which is such a shame because it seems there's a lot of heart put into it.
Absolutely.
The Latino culture
Yes.
that's enraptured in it apparently is great. I haven't seen it yet. I'm
Neither
hoping to
have
see
I.
it at some point. I do want to end up going to see it at some point. Um, I think it's a shame because there seems to be a lot of love put behind it, and it's our first major Latino superhero.
Right.
So it's a big deal, but the audiences are just not coming to it, and
Well-
that's for a multitude of reasons. The biggest one being that just the DCEU,
Ye-
has just been on a downward slope of failure after failure after
Well,
failure.
so I am not surprised that this movie isn't doing well in terms of people going to see it because the only time that I even saw the trailer or any marketing for this movie was previews when I went to see Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
I never saw anything on Instagram, nothing on Facebook, nothing on X, nothing. So
Now-
I don't know what their marketing budget was, but in my opinion, they didn't use it.
It should be
wisely.
stated though that this was originally going to be just like a different studio, but just like Evil Dead Rise. This was originally going to be a straight to streaming movie.
Okay.
But they were like,
I see.
this is pretty good. We're gonna put it in theaters. So you could argue like, yeah, they spent more of their marketing budget than they
Okay.
probably would have for the streaming version. So I guess what any money they make is money they weren't gonna make had they put it straight on streaming.
Fair.
So that's the kind of the silver lining. But
See
it
what
really
the
is a
budget
shame that
was.
like a film like this, especially with films like The Flash and Shazam, just completely crap in the bed. You've got this
Right.
really fun little film with a really cool.
Well, it hasn't made its budget back, so it's
It's gonna flop. It's gonna flop.
the
bad.
budget was $104 million, and
And
it's
it's
made
at-
what 60.
It's barely cracked 60.
Wow.
And we're coming into its second weekend. It's
So-
bad. And I can, like honestly,
Ugh.
the same can be said for the TMNT movie.
Well-
You've got these fun movies that just no one's going to see, which is
Yeah.
just a shame.
It really is a shame, especially for, like, the community that this movie. I'm sure Angel, you have your own opinion
Yeah.
on this. Being someone from that heritage, like, this could have been and
This could have been like another like
Black Panther.
yeah, when Black Panther came out, that was huge. That was
Yeah.
a huge deal.
Absolutely, and it looks like this movie is good.
Two
and
white
all
guys.
with it.
We're the experts on
Right.
this topic.
We're the experts, but Angel, what are your opinions on? I'm not sure if you've seen the movie or
Right.
if you've seen anything, but like the representation of the Latino culture.
And now I've seen the trailer when I saw Barbie, but I man it really like is a shame. I think in the case of something like Black Panther, it had a lot of like leverage of the previous films being of such high
Yeah,
quality.
Quality.
High quality, yes. That is something like Blue Beetle in comparison with the other DC, the other films
Yeah.
in the DC universe just don't really have.
Yeah, like Black
it's-
Black Adam was really hated,
I actually
Yes.
kind of like Black Adam, but that's the movie that's made the most money so far in the current slate of
Right.
films in this universe.
I think that's a good point, though, Angel. Like, a lot of the previous movies, save for like the Snyder cut of Justice League,
Right.
in this DC universe, have just not been that good.
Yeah.
And-
Or at the very
so-
least, not. They've been received okay, but no one's going to see them.
Yeah.
They
Mhm.
haven't done. They haven't reached their at all potential that they could. You know.
Oh
which is
no,
a
no,
shame.
no, not at all.
And I think it's crazy because I remember growing up when Blue Beetle was really getting introduced to the
I see.
fandom, with like his appearance on Injustice 2 and on Batman Brave and the Bold and the comics.
Was
People
there
have
a
been
Blue
wanting
Beetle show?
maybe, but people have been wanting a Blue Beetle movie forever. We finally get it, and nobody goes to see it. And like, there's some fake fans out there, man. I'm getting sick of it because like all these people will cry and snot and
Right,
tear
right.
about how much they want this movie or that movie.
There was
and
a Blue Beetle TV show.
The studios finally give them that movie that they want, and it's actually pretty decent, and nobody goes to see it. I mean,
Which is a
come
shame.
on, come on.
Absolute shame. But who knows? Maybe once it hits a physical release.
Well,
and-
I'm hopeful that it'll do an Elemental.
Right.
Because Elemental opened to pretty dog water numbers
Mhm.
too. It's now
Yep.
grossed more than 500 mil worldwide.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So it's become a bit of a sleeper hit.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful Blue Beetle will do the same thing, but we won't know until its second weekend, which we're getting into.
Well, and I think maybe once the word gets out of how decent that this movie is,
Right.
people are gonna love it.
Yeah,
So,
I really hope
Hopefully.
to catch it before it goes on streaming.
So back to a little bit of animation news. We got the release date for Rick and Morty season 7, and it
Yeah.
is the first season that does not feature Justin Roiland since all of the accusations and controversy happened
Yes.
surrounding him. So I have only seen like 2 episodes of Rick and Morty, so I probably
Same.
And knowing
Yeah.
Billy, he probably watched like the worst episodes.
I watched the first 2. I was gonna
Exact-
start. I was gonna start from
Exactly.
season 1 and
Exactly.
just go on. But
For me, I think the season 2, 3, and 4, like that's pinnacle Rick and Morty for me. I love that stuff.
see, I'm surprised that they're continuing without Justin Roiland.
Well, honestly, shout out to Adult Swim and Cartoon Network
Right.
and all them for being like, "Yo, you're
Who is-
problematic."
Dan Harmon is also
Yeah.
the other co-creator. It's not
Mm.
exclusively
Right.
Justin Roiland.
But the
Right.
studios were like, "Justin, you're problematic. We're getting you out of here." Now,
Right.
it should be
Right.
noted that I believe the accusations were dropped.
So he went
Or
to
he
court.
wasn't charged,
He
yeah.
went to court and the charges were dropped.
So that should be noted. But there was also all the stink of the in-house work environment.
Absolutely.
Apparently, it was incredibly toxic, incredibly unprofessional. So even if he didn't do what he was accused of, he still ran a shit ship, you know?
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think this was kind of written on the wall for a while. And yeah, they stuck to their guns. We're getting our first season without him voicing the titular characters. I've kind of fallen off Rick and Morty a little bit, but I was staying on it for at least the first 5 seasons. Like I watched it as it came out. I'll probably watch clips just to see how the voices are, because
So-
I think that's what everybody's waiting to see, like from a trailer or something, is how are the voices.
So I've seen
Right.
like voice actors on TikTok
Oh
Pretty
yeah.
good impressions.
who do incredible impressions, and I can't remember his name, but I remember that one of these voice actors like collaborated with Justin Roiland and
Yeah.
were like comparing their voices together and how close they sound, and like Justin Roiland was interacting
So
with them.
I'm
you know?
sure they found someone good, but
Yeah.
anybody who's going to watch this, that's the first thing they're going to watch for is how are the voices? Are they any
Right.
close? You know, whatever.
Yeah, and you know, I think that without Justin Roiland, and don't think this is me sticking up for Justin in any particular way, but I don't see Rick and Morty as a show continuing to have the same popularity that it had before.
We'll have to see. Yeah, I'm curious how the numbers are going to be for this.
Yes.
'Cause the show's been going on for a while, and it has its fan base. It has its dedicated fans
Right.
who are annoying as shit.
Yeah, that is the big thing about Rick
So
and Morty, isn't it?
this will be interesting to see. I'm curious to see how the numbers are.
I think so. I didn't write it down, but I think the official release date is October 15th. I'm gonna look this
yeah,
up.
there,
so
really,
that
there
I
was a
can
poster
verify
release
it.
that parodied Bad Boys, which was pretty funny. I don't know if you saw
So-
that.
No, I haven't. I do not keep up with this at all. I only keep up with it because now we have a show where we talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, you said like we got Angel on the show. We need more animation news. So.
Yeah. Okay. So
Aw.
it premieres October 15th at 11 p.m. on Adult Swim.
So Angel, are you a Rick and Morty fan? What are your thoughts on this whole situation?
I have also only seen a couple of episodes, but like it really is interesting. Now, to what extent was Roiland like creatively involved in terms of like writing and story and such?
They were like a duo. Dan and
Yeah.
Justin wrote and produced the show
Like
together.
very
Okay.
very much involved. He voice
Okay.
acted like he was the face of the ship.
Okay.
Dan Harmon definitely took the back seat when it came to everything in like
But it was getting really popular.
yeah, but when you look at Rick and Morty, like the face of Rick and Morty was Justin Roiland. He was very heavily
Okay.
involved. Yes.
So it'll be very interesting to see. I mean, I not only like how they adjust and adapt to the to the voice change, but also like his lack of yeah exactly like how it may change and like
That's a good.
it'll be
point.
very interesting.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, because we can see depending on how people take it, how big of a role he played in the quality.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but you know, with the accusations that were levied against him,
Oh, absolutely. It's
you know, even and that's just something that does happen with today's culture. Even if you know things get dropped or you're found innocent, your public image is definitely tarnished.
totally.
Well, that's why it should be mentioned about like how he ran the
Yeah,
the work environment. And
exactly. So
I think this was just inevitable.
Yeah.
Regardless of the accusations or not, I think him getting out the door was inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we've
Absolutely.
seen that Adult Swim was not playing games, and they were like, "We're done with you. We're going to keep the ship going." 'Cause
Yep.
This is easily their biggest moneymaker. This is
Yeah.
easily the
Mhm.
most popular show
Yep.
that Adult Swim has done in a long time. So
yeah,
it was interesting to see.
yeah, absolutely. So keeping on, so we're gonna talk a little bit. We're gonna circle back and talk about Barbie and Oppenheimer a little bit. So Margot Robbie made so much money.
Yes, she did.
She made so much money. So it was revealed that she made $50 million for her
Wow.
role of Mrs. Barbie.
Now, before I'm already hearing people being like, "Well, there you go, the big actor's making all the money." You know, look, she also executive produced this film,
Yes.
and it's
Oh,
because
okay.
of her that
Makes
this
sense.
film pretty much got made the way it was.
Yes.
She pretty much saved a sinking ship. It was originally going to be Amy Schumer as Barbie,
Oh no.
so I'm already like, and I
Ugh.
think, what's her name? Anne Hathaway was maybe going to be Barbie, which would have been better than Amy Schumer.
yeah.
But we landed on Margot
Of course.
Robbie, who pretty much saved this film. Was the one that kind of was the ship that got like Ryan Gosling on there and other people involved. So we have Margot to thank. She earned every penny of that 50
Oh,
mil.
she was so fantastic.
course.
in
She
that
was
film.
great.
Oh, she was great. She was great.
She totally brought her A game.
Yeah, and you know, I think she earned that $50 million because Barbie has beaten Dark Knight domestically and has become Warner Brothers' top grossing
Wow.
film in the United States ever.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. And I think come this weekend, it'll not only beat Super Mario as the highest grossing film of the year, but it's going to beat Deathly Hallows Part 2 as the highest grossing Warner Brothers film in their worldwide. Like,
Yeah.
of all. Barbie, dude. Insane.
That's amazing.
Going into, and we talked a little bit about this for the past few episodes because this is the 4th episode in a row we've talked
How
about
can you
Barbie.
not talk
But-
about this? Is film history
Yeah.
in before our eyes.
But see, going into this film, I knew it was going to be good. The,
I-
the bar was high for me,
I think the
and it
first...
blew me away.
I think the images, I was like, okay, this seems cute, and it seems different. It's not like, I've never seen a film look like this. The first trailer, that's when I was like, okay.
Yep.
This
Yep.
is going to be rocking.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, and
And it was good. It was the first film in years that I was like, I'm going to go back to the theater and watch that again.
Yeah.
I watched that movie twice in theaters. You know how
Yep.
long it's been since I've done that?
how long?
Years. I think the last film I saw twice was It.
Yeah.
Chapter 2.
Which is also great. The last film that I saw twice was Jordan Peele's Nope. I love that movie.
Wow.
So that's more recent.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
That's
so
more recent.
definitely more recent.
That was
but,
last year, I think.
But yeah, like
And
I bought the soundtrack to this movie on vinyl. I loved it that much.
Aw.
Now, granted, it's kind of bad that the first song you hear is by Lizzo, who has since been
Yeah.
canceled.
Yeah,
Yep.
well, I mean, but I think it fits because she's like, nauseous.
Yeah,
So I think this is incredible.
absolutely.
Great news.
It's
I
great
mean,
for Greta Gerwig.
Dude.
She
Yeah.
is on a tear.
dude. And if she gets
Yeah.
any bit of Oscar from this
yeah.
movie, they're gonna be knocking her door down to get her
Absolutely.
involved.
Well, this is her third hit. Lady Bird, Little Women, Barbie.
Yep.
Yeah, but
That
this is
is
her
a
first
phenom-
pop culture mainstream financial hit.
Yeah, and
Like,
that
they're-
3-movie run.
Warner Brothers is going to
so
hold
good.
on to Greta Gerwig with an iron fist. They are not going to
Yeah.
let her go.
And it's kind of crazy because she didn't start as a director. She was a screenwriter and an actress.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Who happened? I'm unsure if Lady Bird or Little Women was her first big directorial.
Lady Bird was.
which was 2018, correct?
Yeah, and she got nominated. That got nominated for Best Picture.
And so it's
I think,
crazy
yeah.
to see that someone who didn't start out as a director is now one of the most in-demand directors on the planet.
Yeah.
Which is great. So keeping on with the Barbie kind of vibe, we're going to go Barbenheimer a little bit to talk about Oppenheimer. It passed Interstellar in revenue for $700 million.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's made more than 700 mil worldwide. Just insane. There was nobody would have guessed that.
No.
And obviously it's mostly because of the Barbenheimer meme.
Yeah, it
but
piggybacked
also
off of that.
anybody who would have never saw it or without the meme is seeing it and going, "Holy crap, that was just a really good movie,"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it is a great film.
The sound design in that movie is some of the best that I've ever seen.
It's
Or
and
heard, I
see
guess.
now that another thing we should mention with Barbie and Oppenheimer, because you've got Killers of the Flower Moon, which is very interesting, and Ridley Scott's
Scorsese's
Napoleon.
one. Yep.
But I think Oppenheimer and Barbie are going to be the big films this year financially and critically because Dune
Yeah.
2's off the map.
Yeah, it's
That-
off the card.
Yeah.
Which is just
Nah.
so stupid for Warner Brothers. They just throw away another bill right there. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, these two movies are going to dominate the Oscars. I think that Greta Gerwig is going to go with the best director. I think
No, I think Nolan's got. Well,
Yeah.
again, we haven't seen Scorsese or Scott's films.
Yeah.
Those are don't sleep on
Right.
those films.
Yeah.
Those are going to be
Right.
big hitters. I think nomination wise, Gerwig and Nolan for
Yeah,
sure.
I
Clutch
think-
clutch
so.
nomination for
if
sure.
if I had to put money on,
I think Nolan
a
gets
winner-
the win right now.
Well,
Until I've seen the other two films, I think Nolan's got the win.
I think that Cillian Murphy is a lock for the best actor win.
Yes. Now, granted, Gerwig could be a dark horse because this movie, Barbie, it's all direction.
Oh,
To
yeah.
put a film like it's all
yeah.
direction.
Oh, 100%.
Who gets the supporting actor nom?
It's either Ryan Gosling or Robert Downey Jr. so far.
Dude, I want it to be
okay.
Gosling. It's so
Yes.
unlikely. I want it to be Gosling so
Well,
bad.
so I've only seen each movie once, and I'm going to see both of them again. But when I'm thinking about when I watched these two movies, which supporting actor stuck out the most to me, and that
Gosling.
was Ryan Gosling.
But see, and Downey Jr. is just incredible, especially the third act
Right.
reveal
Right.
Oh yeah,
happens of
Well,
and his performance is so subtle.
It's so subtle.
It's poignant.
But see, he's not a huge part of the movie for the first 2 hours of that film.
Yeah, but Gosling, anytime he's on screen, he's stealing the show.
Absolutely.
And
Right.
again, I've said this before. His performance, it's all acting. Even though it's a comedy, it's
Yeah.
all acting. His little
Yep.
sublime, his little things.
That was improv.
His little things
That was
and
improv.
his little nuances and just how he carries himself. I'm there for it, man.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Great. I'm glad to see original films just totally dominating the box office and getting
Yes.
the love.
It's
it
wonderful.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic, especially for we're getting this wave of really great women in the industry.
Yeah.
Which is,
Mhm.
and that was a big thing with the Oscars for so long. It's oh, the winner's another white man.
Yeah.
But now
Right.
it's we have so many great, diverse minds
Yeah.
that are in
Absolutely.
the movie
It's
industry now.
wonderful.
And it's so well, and I feel like movies are the best they've ever been. with this amount of diversity, because diversity breeds innovation.
We've definitely, I think the past 2 years, I kind of dipped once I got like into college. Like I kind of just dipped for movies, and I just occasionally went. I think recently, the past few years, I've really gotten back into like keeping up with what's coming out and really paying attention to what's getting awards and things like that. I do agree that something in the water has changed for sure.
Oh, 100%.
Angel, do you have any words to say on this whole Barbenheimer thing and all the stuff we've been talking about?
I think it's absolutely wonderful, and I sincerely like, man, it is absolutely a great to see someone like Gerwig get such recognition,
Absolutely.
and accolades and such. Well, not accolades yet, but just like a good,
Praise and love.
Yeah, exactly.
yes, 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 exactly. For her work, it is absolutely wonderful, and I sincerely hope that like it leads to, something like come Oscars and such.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and seeing someone like Greta Gerwig, who, is probably, I feel like at least now with Barbie, is the most well-known female director.
Definitely the most financially successful.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yep.
I think coming off of this, you are going to see Hollywood think, okay, what if we took this film concept and maybe had another woman direct this thing? And I think it's just going to be a beautiful thing for the industry.
Well, or you're Mattel and you think, that's what people want. Toy movies!
Let's make Polly
Yeah.
Pocket the movie. So going on from that, this is just a little funny thing that I saw that I
we don't
wanted
have to
talk
stay
about.
too. It's just a fun. It
Sure.
just needs to be mentioned.
So the director of the first Suicide Squad movie, not the good one, the one with the Jared Leto Joker,
Ugh.
he
Yeah.
came out and said that he regrets
Regretted.
he regrets the Joker design, specifically the damaged forehead tattoo. It just
Ugh.
What the hell are they thinking, dude?
like who looked at that?
Yeah.
Who looked at that?
For
and
me,
was
like the
"Let's go."
damage. The damage was cringe. For me, it was the laughing,
laughing
tattoo
hand,
where he would put
yeah.
it. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm so glad that they kept Margot Robbie
think
on, but
Da-
then just rebooted
David
the series.
Oyer, I think that's his name, that did that Suicide film. Dude, too little, too late. You had your chance. Like you could. There was there were probably like so many moments you could have go. You know what? This is a bad idea. We need to change this.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you stuck it. You kept it in, man.
Well, and I mean, I think the news came out. It was like they had like 2 hours worth of scenes with Jared Leto, but only like 10 minutes made it into
Yeah.
the film. So it's
Wow.
It's just crazy that someone looked at that character design, looked at all of the cringy tattoos, looked at Jared Leto's performance, and decided that it was worth putting on screen and making a movie out of. It's
Now,
just crazy.
was any aspect of that design based on like the comics or anything, or was it just like completely original?
That's a good question. I actually don't know, but I don't think it was. I think it was a completely original
Okay.
design. But I will Google it right now. So David Ayer insists that Jared Leto's Joker is an accurate depiction from the character, and he has evidence to prove it. So in 2016, okay, that's just where he's talking about it. So So I don't think visually that it's comically accurate, but I think that he thinks that the way that Leto portrayed the character is accurate. But I don't know, man. Like
Yeah.
Too late.
Yeah.
he
Too little,
just
too
wasn't
late.
good. But we'll move on from that. So I actually haven't seen this yet. Have you?
I have not either.
So,
but I've watched a few reviews of it and people's thoughts on it.
So, Ahsoka premiered on
uh,
August 23rd. I think it was just a 2-episode
this past
release.
Tuesday. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. So that's good news.
Well, and it was met with a resounding.
yeah.
It definitely like. TV Twitter's loving it.
Yeah.
Well, Star Wars Twitter seems to be really enjoying it.
I mean, we've been eating good with Star Wars. We've been eating so good. Like Bad Batch, people love Bad Batch. Obi-Wan, people loved Obi-Wan.
Right.
we've been eating. I've heard a lot of praise from him.
I'm gonna disagree with that statement you've just said.
Well, so my buddy
we've
is
had
all over it.
we've had a interesting buffet of
Yeah,
Star Wars
yeah.
where
Fair.
we have,
Mandalorian was
okay,
like that's it.
like we had Mandalorian season 1 and 2, which
Yep.
were great.
Yep.
Season 3
Right.
was not great. We had Obi-Wan, which was really disappointing, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Book of Boba Fett I liked more than most people did, but even I can admit that show had a lot of problems. We had Andor, which was incredible, easily the best Star Wars anything we've had, at least in the TV realm, but just overall. And that checks because Rogue One is easily the best Star Wars movie I think we've had since like the prequels. For me personally. So
Okay.
we have Ahsoka show. I really like the Ahsoka character. Loved her in Clone Wars. Liked what I've seen with her in Rebels. I haven't seen this yet, and I don't know if I will. I'm kind of like really just getting more disinterested in like Disney Plus original shows, but
Fair.
I'll definitely try and check it out because I really do like Rosario Dawson in the role. I like the cast that they've got. I like the characters involved. So we'll see, but it's definitely not being met with like how Star Wars fans usually are, where they're like mad as hell about everything. So I think this has a chance to be really good. For me, a lot of Disney Plus original shows start strong and then just end pretty weak. I find it interesting that for most part the general consensus is that this one starts okay. So maybe that means we're gonna end really well. I don't know.
Maybe. So, Angel, are you into Star Wars at all? Have you kept up with maybe
I
the
am-
animated Star Wars stuff, or?
I am not really, for the most part. I've I've seen like I think 2/3 of episode 4, and not much of anything else. But I do find it interesting. Sorry. I did see Force Awakens.
Okay.
Okay.
But I find it very interesting, like just like the over saturation of Star Wars content, since the whole Disney
Acquisition.
Lucasfilm
Yeah.
acquisition. Yes, there's just been so much like content over the last like few.
Well, I would
Fair.
I would
years.
agree in the television aspect because like the last time we got a movie was Rise of Skywalker, and that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We haven't
Right.
had a Star Wars movie.
We've been eating
In a
good with the
long-
video
Right.
games, though.
Now the video games,
We've been eating good. Jedi Survivor,
Jedi
Fallen
Survivor
Order.
and Fallen Order.
The
really,
new Lego Star Wars is fantastic. I forget the name of it, but we're getting a sandbox open world Star Wars game.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
which is like huge. But my buddy Corey is like incredibly into Star Wars. Has he has all the Funko Pops. He's buying like life size helmets.
Did he like Ahsoka? Or has he
So
not seen it
I
yet?
actually haven't talked to him about it yet. It'll be interesting to get his take.
I'll
on
be
that.
curious to see
You know,
where the
we'll-
show goes.
Yeah.
I'll probably check it out.
Well,
Just
and
for,
I'm sure where they're releasing it episodically week by week. I'm sure we'll talk about it again on the show.
Yeah.
At a later.
I think
date,
that that third episode will really
Yeah.
kind of
right.
steer the course of where people will be at.
But moving on. Zoo Pals are coming.
Dude, I knew we had to talk about this when I saw that. If you were growing up in the early 2000s,
Yes.
you've seen the Zoo Pals commercial.
Absolutely. Zoo
Absolutely.
Zoo
Pals are
Pals.
fantastic.
Did not know. Did not know. I don't know if this changed, or like if they got the brand for it, but I didn't know Hefty was the like.
Oh,
I mean,
oh
it
yeah.
makes
Of
sense.
this brand.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's a plate, you know.
But like thinking of something, and obviously, we're a movie show, and this we're talking about
Yeah.
we're talking about cutlery.
But this is a part of pop culture.
But it's a part of pop
Oh,
culture. and
oh,
especially
absolutely,
because
yes.
retro commercials from that era
are
have like
so
made
beloved.
such a strong
Yeah.
resurgence
But,
in
like,
media.
I know for a fact that as a kid, I would eat my veggies if they were on a Zoo Pals
Yep.
plate.
Dude, my
Yep.
favorite Zoo Pal shot of the commercials when you've got like the tater tots
Yeah.
and there's like a little bit of ketchup on like the ear. I'm like, bam, what a combo.
Yeah,
Love it,
dude.
love it.
Mm.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
So they're coming back. Is there an official when they're going to hit the stores?
Soon, I think. That was posted a while ago.
Well, let's see.
Go,
if
go
we
on
got an
Hefty's
update.
Facebook page.
Zoo Pals
I bet-
return.
I haven't been I saw the link, but I was wondering if if they're like if you have to order them online, or if they actually are coming like in store like sometime soon.
Well, so on Hefty's official website, it says that you can buy them on Target.com. So maybe,
Okay.
and on Amazon. So maybe if you could buy it on Target.com, it only makes sense that you could buy them
I think
physically.
you're right, Angel. Zoo Pals originally was always like a order now. It was one of those, like
Right.
Well, no, I remember.
Do you think they sold them in stores?
I remember.
I don't
Oh,
ever
yeah,
remember
yes,
seeing them
yes,
in stores. I
yes,
only
they
remember
did.
seeing the commercial.
Yeah,
Yes.
but there's no, as far as I know.
This is a
there's
big
no
win
official-
for Gen Z. This is
Oh,
a big win.
oh.
For
Oh,
Gen
absolutely, yes.
This is one of the first big wins we've had in a
Bro,
while.
listen, when
Yes.
Zoo Pals comes back, listen, I'm
Oh.
23. I'm
Yes.
still gonna eat Zoo Pals. You know?
Same. Oh my, yes.
Yeah, well, and like
kinda like
Chaz, you have a kid, you've
stockpile
got one
them.
on the way. So this, I feel like this is a way that you can like introduce
Oh.
some of your childhood.
You know what?
to
Probably
your
not,
children.
because my wife hates plastic plates. We're
That's
we're a
I mean,
dish plate family
is
only.
Is it as environmentally conscious to use Zoo Pals? No, probably not. But there's no listen.
Yeah.
Listen, there is
True.
no ethical consumption under capitalism. So I am still buying
That's
Zoo
facts.
Pals.
That's fact. And honestly, last thing I want to mention, I really respect that it's the OG plate design.
Yes.
Yes.
They didn't change it. It's like
Mhm.
you know what? Here's how this conversation went down. They were like looking in a warehouse, and they were like, "What's this dusty door back here?"
Right.
Zoo
Hey, there's
Pals?
so many Zoo Pals back here. Shit, put them back on the market. We gotta
Well,
get rid
and-
of this.
and they're- dude, they're gonna be sold out.
I'd
Oh
be
yeah.
curious to see the
Oh, they
sales
were.
numbers
They
on
were.
Yeah, like I feel like we are going to have a Zoo Pal shortage as soon as they release.
Yes.
It's gonna be
Now
like-
Absolutely.
we need moon shoes to come back.
Okay,
We need
yeah,
soccer boppers to come back.
We
We
need-
need lots and lots of jets and planes to come back.
We need.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Angel knows what I'm talking about.
We need.
Oh yeah.
Listen,
Oh yeah. Totally.
Listen, while we're on the bringing retro things back, let's bring back some retro shows. Let's Alf's coming back. Let's bring back Legends of the Hidden Temple.
They did.
Now they.
They did.
Now they
like
did.
I didn't know this.
They did with like adults. It was like one season.
They did.
That was
But
like
they
one of
actually
my
put
favorite
out
shows.
it's no longer available, but they put out applications for people to like sign up.
That's incredible.
There was a TV movie as well.
A TV. How do you make a movie out of a?
Oh yeah,
kid's
they made
show?
a Legends. See, Angel knows what's up. They released.
Oh, yeah.
You're a fake fan, dude.
Bro,
How can you name drop a show like that and not know the lore? What's going on?
I've watched the original show so many times, but like also like
Yes, there's a movie around it, and they did do a reboot of the show
Oh.
with like
Mhm.
adults.
well, great. That's cool. Okay.
Speaking of things coming, this is great for me. Prey is getting a physical release.
So is Prey
Yes.
is that the Predator?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, the Hulu original.
This was my favorite movie last year. This is my
Okay.
top
Oh.
film of the year last year.
So tell what is so I haven't seen it. And I don't know much about it. What's like
Prey-
the concept of it?
So Prey is a prequel to the original one, I believe.
okay, to the original Predator. For those of you,
I don't know if it's like, I can't remember if it's like canon to the timeline, but it's like a unique telling of the story where in this case the Predator lands on Earth during like pre-Civil War.
Okay.
And
I know there's a lot of native.
Yes, and
iconography and
lands
aesthetics
near a
to it.
Native American tribe, and this Native American woman has to use, her tools and wits to fight off the Predator.
Mhm.
It's great action, dripping with character.
Mm.
The Native American culture, just kind of like Blue Beetle with Latino culture, is just it's seeping through it. It's great. There's a
Wonderful.
version you can watch of the film that's just in the Native American language of
Oh,
that
that is
tribe.
fantastic.
Amazing.
That's awesome. And again, this is another instance where like this should have been put in theaters. It would have made so much money. Oh, the straight to streaming crap is
well,
so
so
stupid.
it's evidently it's getting a physical release, which it surprises me that they've waited this long to give it a physical release.
I'm surprised they're giving it a physical release. Period. It seems a
Mm.
little odd, but I mean, I hope there's bonus content, commentary,
absolutely.
behind
Yes.
the scenes stuff.
Yes.
I hope it's got all that stuff.
Yeah.
Just wanted to bring that up because it's very rarely you see this, and if they make a sequel to this, it's for sure getting a theatrical release because it got a lot of eyes on it when it came out.
All right,
Mhm.
well, moving on from that, so we're going to talk about Coraline a little bit, which is one of
Yeah.
one of my favorite I don't want to say kids films because there's so much adult themes, but
It's one of the best stop
So-
motion films ever made.
oh, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
I honestly
Yeah.
like it more than Nightmare Before Christmas. Straight up.
Oh,
that's
oh,
fair.
totally.
That's
Straight
fair.
up.
That's
Totally.
fair. So we're kind of a little bit late on this news because we took last week off, but it was recently re-released into theaters and it made an additional $5 million, which was great.
The reason I wanted to talk about this is because I saw a lot of people online mentioning it and going, dude, the fact that this film that's pretty old at this point made an extra $5 million, that alone should tell you what people are wanting to go see.
Yeah.
The fact that it made like even that much, it made a good chunk of what Blue Beetle's original projection was of 12 mil.
Yeah.
It made like almost half that original projection.
Well, and you know, it actually has been extended in theaters.
Because it
Yes.
got such a
Well,
huge like.
Yeah, so you've got 2 more days to go see it. It has been extended in select theaters to August 28th. So you have 2 more days to go and see Coraline in theaters if you haven't, which I absolutely recommend you do. It is a phenomenal
Yes.
film.
It's a classic.
The book is also great. If
Yeah,
you
yeah.
haven't
Neil
read
Gaiman.
the book, read the book. So.
Angel, as someone who loves animation, I'm sure you're no stranger to Coraline.
Oh, yeah.
You know, what are your thoughts on the news of it making that much money? And do you think this will set a precedent for the future of like, you know, maybe we should re-release some of these other old animated films or things like that? Because, you know, re-releases are nothing new, but I think Coraline is kind of a special case.
Now I know it. I saw it re-released. It wasn't last year. It was maybe a couple years ago. Anyway, when it was restored in 4K.
Oh yeah.
And I saw that that then. It was amazing. I adored it, and I've been wanting to see it again for these screenings. As for like the prospect of it like getting that much like box office return, like I think it's wonderful. Like especially for Coraline, which I adore dearly. I love that film so much. But I really I hope that like they do try to do something similar for like other films. I know that they also did a screening recently of Paranorman a while ago.
I didn't know about that one.
Yes. Let me see. Maybe some others as well. But basically, when since they were all like restored in 4K, they screened Paranorman, Coraline, and maybe some other like Leica films. But anyway, it's wonderful seeing it get that like that reception. I hope it continues with other films.
Absolutely.
Hopefully.
Something that surprised me that I recently learned about. So Leica, which is the studio behind Coraline, I guess the CEO of Leica, I don't know if it's their parents or someone in their family is a big executive of Nike, which is why you see once these Leica movies are released, you see Nike products that are branded similarly, and you see these product matches.
Okay.
I remember seeing a video about that because, like, I know there's some Coraline Nikes that are official that were released alongside the movie. Like, so that's actually kind of interesting to
Do
talk
they have
about.
like the little buttons or
I
something?
hope they do.
I've
God.
never seen
Actually,
that.
speaking of that, Nike dropped official Barbie themed merch too. I remember
Wow.
sending me
Yeah.
pictures of that, and they were actually pretty
They
decent.
look,
but
they look kind of fire.
but you know, and with the re-release of Coraline and how you talked about wanting to see other films re-released, a theater a few towns over from us has been showing some of the Ghibli films on the screen
Yes.
again.
Oh yeah.
Which have been great, and we'll talk about Ghibli a little bit later on in the show. But you know, there is a market for all of these movies that have come out previously that are well beloved to like have a limited run in theaters, and people want to experience it. Especially like I could see parents wanting to let their kids experience it in theaters for the first time. Like I'm sure that there would have been so many parents that would have loved to have taken their kids to see like the Iron Giant in theaters again.
Yes.
Or like like Star Wars.
That's
if
a
they put
perfect
the OG
example of one I'd
trilogy.
love to see like get re-released and get like a good return.
Absolutely,
'Cause
and
that one's definitely had a strong
yeah,
following over
and
the years.
you know, I don't think you know a limited showing is they're not gonna make like a crazy amount. It's not gonna be like a new
Nobody
movie that
expects
just came
that,
out,
but I think the fact that $5 million was earned on
Yeah.
the re-release
Oh, it was
shows that there is a
fantastic.
demand. There's at least a demand for it where it's not a waste of time
Absolutely.
to re-release it.
Absolutely.
Uh,
But you know, continuing on with the little bit of news that we have today, and speaking of like re-releases, rehashes, what have you, the Percy Jackson TV show hits
Has
Disney
a release
Plus.
date.
It's going to be on Disney Plus on December 20th with a 2-episode release similar to.
I'm gonna maybe piss some people off.
Ahsoka.
I do not give two shits about Percy Jackson.
See, all I know about
dude, Percy Jackson. Okay, I grew up when that book series came out, and it was definitely like for a lot of people, they're Harry Potter. It's
Fair.
like, oh, they're Percy Jackson. And
Fair.
when the first film came out, it sucked, and everyone was like, that blew.
See, I know.
So they're really hoping that this TV show is like
good.
a redemption.
See,
you know?
I know a lot of people like Logan Lerman in that role,
But see,
but
I hate the books. I don't
Fair.
give, the books suck. They're not good. Oh, I like as a teen, as the demographic for that book series, I was reading. I was like, this is stupid.
well,
This is-
and
and it's just
such,
shame
it's
because,
such
like,
a cool idea.
The,
though.
like the idea of like the Greek mythology and you know, and so they dropped some stills for the show. They look awful. They look
Wow.
awful. They got my boy Edge with this like
oh
claymore.
yeah,
And it's like the specs, like the volume stage is so obvious.
Yep.
Oh, it's
Those
so
of
bad.
you who may not have recognized that name, Edge, he's a wrestler, also by the name of Adam Copeland.
He's awesome.
He's
One of my
pretty
favorites
awesome.
from the Attitude Era.
And you know, he's an actor. He was in I think it was a CW show called Haven.
He was in
which
a
is-
Viking show too.
Yeah, he was in the Viking show.
Yeah.
And he was also in the show Haven, which is based off of a Stephen King book series or a book. They turned it into a television show.
And now he's
So-
in Percy Jackson.
Now he's in Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
So, who knows? It may be good. Are you
know-
a Percy
I know-
Jackson fan, Angel?
I know it's gonna have its
I am-
chance because
I'm not.
dying.
You're not a
for-
Percy Jackson fan? Fair.
Thank you, Angel. Thank
Fair.
you.
I don't have much exposure to it, honestly.
See, I've never read the books. Oh, voice crack there. I've never read
That's
the
right.
books. You know, I like Logan Lerman as an actor. You know, my favorite film of all time is The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which he stars as Charlie. But, you know, I never, you know, I haven't read or seen Harry Potter. I haven't read or seen Lord of the Rings. I'm not going to read or see Percy Jackson. So,
I hope it's better than the movie because
Yeah,
I know the
hopefully.
fans of the book hate that movie, and it was like they've been wanting something live action for years.
Right,
It was good.
right.
So hopefully this TV show gives them something.
Absolutely.
Even though I don't care about it.
Speaking of something that we don't really care about, but we're going to talk about it because it's news, the Monopoly movie is reportedly
Yeah.
back on board. So Lionsgate acquired E1 from Hasbro. Why do we need
Yeah.
this? Why do we need a Monopoly
Well,
movie?
look. Why did we need a Barbie movie? It's all depending
Yeah,
on who they get to make it.
that's a good
Fair.
point.
who
That's
they
a
get
very
to
good
write it,
point.
and who they get to star in it.
Fair.
You know, you can make a great film out of anything, even the
Yeah.
most ridiculous
Right.
things.
I mean, the Hungry Hippos movie is also confirmed.
I think like a political thriller of about capitalism with the Monopoly
Honestly.
Man. Him I feel like it's the perspective of the Monopoly Man taking advantage of the system and rising the ranks and corporate
Yeah.
greed,
Yeah, well, kind
How-
of
like,
kinda
how-
like they did the Tetris film.
or like The Big Short.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like he's exploiting the system and he owns Boardwalk and he starts putting hotels down. His empire grows and he takes over all the
Right.
streets. Like that could be fucking awesome.
Who would you cast?
Yes,
in that
absolutely.
role?
As the Monopoly Man,
As I think his name is like
Bryan Cranston. Bryan Cranston. He's got the mustache and the top hat and everything. Bryan Cranston.
Ooh.
you know, I could see
Like
it.
like a Walter White thing where he's like, I'm the one who knocks.
Yeah.
These
Some-
are my
Yeah.
hotels.
Or someone cooked here.
Like he's like,
I wonder.
I own the railroads.
I mean, I could see like Sam Elliott.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Ooh.
He's got the mustache. You
Just
know,
just someone like
twirl it up.
just an older gentleman that's like,
I feel like Michael
Harrison
Caine
Ford.
could work.
Michael Caine. I was gonna say Harrison
ooh,
Ford.
Michael
but
Caine could
yeah.
be good.
Yeah.
Put a little British actor in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't have a judgment for it until I see more until I see images, until I see trailers, until I see attached directors, writers,
Right.
producers,
Yeah.
actors. Obviously, it sounds stupid on paper.
Yeah.
And the whole Mattel, like, we're gonna make 40 fucking
Right.
toy movies because Barbie did so good.
Yeah.
Obviously, they missed the point.
Yeah.
But I
Absolutely.
mean, 40. Maybe all those could be good. That's 40 great
Right.
films.
Who
But they
knows?
could all
Yeah.
be terrible.
It's
takes.
possible.
Yeah, it's absolutely possible. So this next topic is the topic that I really wanted to talk to you about, Angel. We got the first pictures and looks from Hayao Miyazaki's final Studio Ghibli film,
Yeah.
The Boy and the Heron, also known as How Do You Live.
Right.
So I've seen a few of the Ghibli films. I'm not as well versed in them. You know, I've seen My Neighbor Totoro. I've seen Howl's Moving Castle, and I've seen bits and pieces of Spirited Away. And I know that this studio is probably the most well known. One of the most, if not
It's the most mainstream anime thing.
Right.
yeah,
Yes.
or
Yes.
just animation studios in general. Like when thinking of animation studios, obviously you have studios like Titmouse, but like Ghibli is the monolith. You know, Ghibli is the final boss of anime, at least film,
Right.
in my opinion. And I know they've been they're doing something with Star Wars. I know that there's
Yeah.
Yes, I think they're going to be
something
involved
there.
in the new Star Wars Vision
But-
Season 2.
Yep.
But-
Yep. There.
This is Miyazaki,
The guy.
Mr. Ghibli himself.
This is his final movie.
Miyazaki, this is his final film, which is.
I mean, if you look at the track record, I mean, like,
there's
it could have
very
ended.
little
It could have
misses.
ended earlier. I mean, the fact that we got that many films. I gotta be honest. I haven't seen a single Ghibli film. I've seen 2 clips of Ponyo, and that's it.
That's
I am
valid.
very, very not versed in
Fair,
this topic.
fair. And
That's
obviously,
totally fair.
I'm not as well versed either. But you know, I'm sure Angel, like, are you a Ghibli
Well,
fan? You
Angel,
know,
is this being his last film a big deal? And do you think that, given the images we've seen and whatnot, that this could be like a final hoorah, or what are you thinking?
So, one quick thing. He has said various films would have been his last film, like multiple times. The Wind Rises was another one, but I think in this case it actually is his last film. He's 86, I believe.
Oh,
What
yeah.
are the chances he's gonna be like, psych, here's another one?
Yeah. But anyway, I think it's great. My connection to Ghibli, I have like a bunch of Ghibli films on DVD and some Blu-ray, but I have only seen. Actually, I saw Spirited Away at a Fathom Events Ghibli Fest screening.
Oh wow.
Yes, and aside from that, I've seen Kiki's
Delivery
a delivery service.
I've heard that one's.
Other than yes, and the Howl's Moving Castle, but other than that, no, none. Even though I have like a good majority of them physically, but I haven't seen many of them. Yeah, I mean, like, I definitely think that like this is likely going to be at the very least like like good and a good like last hurrah for Miyazaki. He is a very his perfectionism is notorious. So I don't think he would go out on something that isn't at the very least
His expectation.
good. Yeah,
Fair,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, when you look at just the catalog that he has been able to put together with very little duds. Like I know there was like a CG animated film
Yeah.
that wasn't very well received. But other than that, like, actually my first exposure to any of his work was Grave of the Fireflies.
Oh wow.
That film
Not a good one to start with.
I mean,
Wow.
it was actually so that film is a 5-star film for me, one of the best
Mhm.
animated things I've ever seen. But it really shows. I think if you're wanting to see how well that Miyazaki is able to play with your emotions, that
Wow.
movie's the perfect example because
I've heard.
it is not a movie like you'll see it once, and even though it was fantastic, you will never want to see it again because of how heartbreaking it is. But
Mhm.
I've so many of his films have such a profound impact on people that it's going to be interesting to see the landscape of animation, specifically Japanese animation, once he's gone. Because I feel like Miyazaki is the person who got thousands, if not millions, of animators into animation just from seeing
Yeah.
what his studio has been able to
It'll
put
be
out.
interesting to see what the production company does when he does officially retire and or passes away.
Mm-hmm.
Will they like just stop, or will they carry on? Will someone take his
Yeah,
place?
well,
I'll be
so-
interested to see how that goes.
Well, so obviously with what they're doing with Star Wars, they're obviously continuing to put out content once he retires. But I'm curious to see if his
We'll still
retire,
get films like
yeah, if
Studio
his-
Ghibli films.
Yeah, if his retirement also means that Ghibli is going to retire from feature film length animations,
Right.
and maybe they just do short films or stuff like collaborations with other studios.
Yeah.
But it's definitely going to be interesting to see, and
Yeah.
this is huge for animation, specifically for Japanese animation.
Yeah.
This is, it's just to tie kind of back to some interests that you and I have. It's the same thing as like when Vince McMahon retired from wrestling. It's
Right.
it's weird to think of a world where Miyazaki isn't a player.
The
in
difference
this
is
industry.
Vince's was long overdue.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants.
Well, and Vince's was also brought on by a bunch of accusations.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
the point,
Yes.
But the point that I'm making is that
it's
it was
hard to imagine one without the other.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine a world without this person in it in some capacity.
Right.
We never thought Vince was going to step down. We never thought he was going to retire. We never saw a world, obviously, until he passed. Well,
Right.
he's not dead, but we never saw a world without him in it until he passes, which I feel like a lot of people are going to feel the same way about Miyazaki. Is like
Absolutely.
because what Ghibli, however it's pronounced. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but
That's perfectly fine.
they have been putting out films since the 70s and 80s, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They've been in works
So
for
like
a long time.
50 years.
Yeah.
They've been in the cultural zeitgeist forever. I mean,
Oh yeah,
especially
yeah.
the big who doesn't know Spirited Away? Who doesn't know My Neighbor?
My Neighbor Totoro,
Yeah,
How's
no,
the
but-
Movie Castle. Well, I mean, like you could literally type anime into Google and click on images, and I guarantee, like,
Yeah.
you won't have to scroll
100%.
far
100%.
until you see something that Miyazaki has had his hands
Yes.
on. But yes, we got the first looks, and it's your traditional
That's the
Ghibli
thing. It's
style.
like
It looks
the
so
first
good.
image just came out, and you're like, "Yep, that's Studio Ghibli."
Yeah, yeah, and it looks great, and I'm sure that it's going to be
I
incredibly
still haven't got
emotional.
my likeness paycheck though.
Talking about his big ass boat. Yeah, that was a good
Still
one.
haven't gotten my
But-
my likeness check in the mail yet. But I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
Yeah, but I'm gonna see it. I need to go in and I need to watch.
I need
all
to
of the
educate
Ghibli
myself.
films. Yeah.
And what what I
My
like
wife loves,
love
Princess Mononoke. That's her favorite one.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Well,
What I love about
oh.
oh sorry I don't mean to like to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No, you're
but,
okay, Angel. Go ahead.
But what I love about the prospect of another Ghibli film is seeing traditional like hand-drawn like animation like on the big screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially something to the scale of Ghibli.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's
What do you think the chances are we're gonna have delicious looking food in this movie?
oh more than
Beautiful,
likely I'm sure.
Mouth-watering looking
Yes.
food in this movie.
Absolutely. So, the last big news thing we have on the docket today before we just get into just normal conversation with what we've watched and stuff is, and this is something that I saw that I was really excited about. So D&D Beyond, if you're a D&D player, you know what D&D Beyond is. It's, they're partnered with Wizards of the Coast. They are releasing their first third-party product,
Wonderful.
which is a Critical Role product. And the reason I want to talk about this is because this is huge for independent content creators in the tabletop RPG landscape. Because now you are able to, especially for someone like me who uses D&D Beyond in our weekly game that we play, having more content at my disposal at the table that may not be official, that's not homebrew. And so I feel like people seeing, oh wait, something that wasn't Wizards of the Coast is actually on D&D Beyond, and millions upon millions of people are going to see it. Maybe I have a chance for my creation to get on there. And I think this is huge for specifically writers. Like, I don't know. I just thought that this was worth talking about.
Well, it's definitely...
Absolutely.
Again, it's great to see Critical Role succeeding.
Oh,
that's always
yes.
great to see in the news.
Always great to see some of the best people.
Yeah. I do agree that inspiring people to like put their products out in this fandom and whatnot. I do think it's a little silly to be like, if I put mine out, it'll do well.
Yeah,
Critical Role has made millions of dollars.
Well,
like
and
they have. There's a reason they have these connections and have this pool to get there.
They have official Wizards of the Coast Dungeons and Dragons release stuff, like the Explorer's Guide to Wildmount.
But D&D Beyond is easily one of the, if not the like, third party UI like thing to use for D&D players.
Yeah.
So it's great. It's great to see that the synergy is still ongoing.
Oh, it's great. And it's their first third party release, which is
I'm shocked it didn't happen sooner.
Me
I
too.
think that's the crazy part.
Me too.
That they haven't released stuff.
Yeah. And so this third party release is just the Tal'Dorei campaign setting. So it's mainly just like...
So they didn't make it. Matt Mercer made it.
Yeah, it's
Right.
it's all Matt Mercer. So like Explorer's Guide to Wildmount is just their second campaign condensed into a source book.
I think we'll see more original stuff from the D&D Beyond team if this does well.
Oh yeah.
If this has downloads and purchases, we might see actual original stuff from D&D Beyond that's not based on Critical Role or whatever. Like they'll release their own homebrew content.
Yeah.
Which would be I think that's going to be
it's going to be great.
That's going to be the big news.
It's going to be great. So, but that was everything that we had on the normal docket. So we're just going to get into some more casual conversation here.
So, Angel, we end the shows with an annual like, what have you watched since our last episode? So the past week, Angel, what movies have you watched?
Movies, TV, anything. Like what media have you consumed this week?
Honestly, I've been at university, so so I haven't really seen any media of aside from maybe like YouTube videos and such. I can't really think of anything I've seen recently. Well, actually, I saw the new TMNT movie.
Oh,
Yes.
so good. It's
great.
so good. The voice, so the voice actor for Leonardo is Nicholas Canto, and do you know who Nicholas Canto voiced?
Yes, Gumball.
Gumball, which is fantastic. See, I knew going into that movie that we had Jackie Chan as Master Splinter, you had John Cena as Rocksteady,
Ice Cube.
and Ice Cube is Superfly, but like Nicholas Canto. Gumball is Leonardo.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So that was
It's
great.
great.
That was great. But yeah, that movie was absolutely fantastic. I don't know if you had heard this news, Angel, but it was confirmed that we're getting a sequel film and a TV show.
Awesome. That's great. That's great.
So good. Well, and
yes.
So what are your opinions on the animation style of that movie? Because I've heard a lot of mixed feelings on it. But
I think it's great.
But like as an animator yourself, what are your opinions of the animation style?
I think it's absolutely beautiful. It takes a kind of like similar but different cues as to things we've been seeing with Spider-Verse, Bad Guys, Puss in Boots, too, things along those lines. But also does like its own thing, like its own stylization. It is absolutely stunningly beautiful.
I love how
love
ugly
it
they
so
made
much.
humans in that movie.
Yes. Well,
Yeah, I very much noticed that. That was very visceral.
Well, kind of keeping on the topic a little bit of like animation and animators, who were some of like the animators or some of the television shows that inspired you most in your style?
Um, I guess like growing, well, up, I guess two people in particular. There was an internet animator, um, who had a webtoon called Ed's World.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, his name was Ed Gould. And his webtoon like, really like inspired me a lot when I was like starting up. Um, Aside from that, uh, the animator who did the genie in Aladdin, as well as a bunch of other stuff. He's a guy named Eric Goldberg. Huge inspiration, like probably my favorite animator of all time.
Great.
Huge, yeah.
So, Billy, what movies have you seen this week?
I've seen a decent bit. I think my favorite movie that I've seen this week is a horror film by Ty West called X. So it stars Mia Goth and Jenna Ortega. So the story of X as a movie is a group of filmmakers who are filming a corn film, a Kith film. They rent out a oh, my cat's playing with my cord. They rent out a boarding house in this old couple's farm, and horror ensues because what's scarier than naked old people. So watching it was one of the most refreshing horror movies that I've seen in a long time. And evidently there's a whole X cinematic universe, because filmed alongside X and released alongside it was a movie called Pearl that also stars Mia Goth.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and the character of Pearl is the killer in X, which is kind of cool. And then I don't think it's gotten an official release date yet, but
There is a third one coming.
yeah, it's called Maxine, with the X and Maxine being the three X's for corn.
Wow.
But it'll star Mia Goth as well. And it takes place, I think, immediately following the end of X. It was great. Let's see. I know I've seen a few that I wanted to bring up. Let me bring up my letterbox real quick, and I can talk about my recently reviewed.
Your cat is annoying the shit out of me.
Yeah, that's my cat. I saw Terrifier. Hated it. I hated it.
It's really shocking. So the problem with Billy is that he can't have fun. He takes everything so damn seriously.
We watched a film together. Well, not together, but we watched it simultaneously. We watched a movie called Brain Dead. Which
Great film. I'll talk about
Yeah.
it was pretty fun. It was
Peter
Peter Jackson of Lord of the Rings fame, but it's supposedly one of the goriest films
It's
of all
the
time.
it's the goriest film of all time.
Yeah.
Let's see. I watched. So there's three more that I want to talk about that I watched.
They're good.
I watched The Taking of Deborah Logan,
Okay.
which is a movie that surprised me a little bit. So it started out, it was promoted as it was promoted kind of like your typical
Found
footage exorcism movie, and then when it starts out, it completely diverts that expectation, and it's mainly about like Alzheimer's and dementia and stuff like that. But then, towards the end, it really
Billy, toss your cat back.
it really
God bless.
it really takes on that
Oh.
that supernatural element, But another supernatural film that I watched is a film called Hell House LLC, which is another
Like that
found footage film. A lot of people said that it's like the scariest found footage or scariest film they've ever seen. I don't understand it. Like, it had some scary elements, but other than that, it was just pretty okay. And then the last two that I wanted to talk about, I watched Midsummer for the first time, starring Florence
Okay.
Pugh. I would let Florence Pugh indoctrinate me. I'm just saying that.
Go watch Oppenheimer again, dude.
Yeah. It was a great film. It's A24. They barely ever miss. But then the last one that I want to talk about is one that Chaz and I both watched that I don't know if we'll like get in trouble for talking about because of like the terms.
Well, just
we watched Cannibal Holocaust.
yeah. Don't need to
Okay.
divulge into
Yeah.
anything. But
We're not going to divulge into the specifics. You know, it's well regarded as one of the most, if not the most disturbing film ever made.
it's definitely
Right.
up there.
Yeah, it's definitely up there, and you know, it lives up to it. Both Chaz and I agree that it's a masterpiece, but for different reasons.
Okay.
Gee, don't put words in my mouth.
You said it.
I didn't call it a masterpiece, but I was like, this is a damn good movie.
So
Yeah.
it is, for anyone watching this, I want to make this very clear. It is not a film, and I feel like you would agree with this sentiment, that we can in good conscience recommend.
Well, okay, if you're an animal
Right.
lover, do not watch this movie.
There are real. This is the only thing we'll say. There are real depictions of animal cruelty,
Right.
real killings of animal on screen.
But-
that is just treading water. It gets so much worse.
All right, I'm going to rapid fire these because I saw a lot of movies the past 2 weeks.
Okay.
First one, Dead Man, an acid western classic with Johnny Depp from 1995. It's this really interesting black and white. You would hate it because it's slow. You would absolutely hate it.
Yeah, I walked out of The Revenant, if that means anything.
Yeah, you would hate
You
it.
did?
Two interesting films that are kind of like independent films. The cast of the movies caught my eye. First one is The Protector that came out last year. It stars two actors from Degrassi.
Start Drake.
No, it did not. It's specifically from Degrassi Next Class, and I was just like, oh, what are they up to? It was okay, kind of boring. It was an interesting concept, but it didn't really go anything with it. Then I watched The Timber from 2015 that had Josh Peck in a western.
Okay.
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 Not too bad. Cannibal Holocaust. What I love about that movie is
The
it's
social
all-
commentary.
The social commentary. I love its views on journalism and
Colonization.
colonialism.
Yeah.
Definitely worth checking out. I don't agree with Billy. Like most of the effects, I was like, yawn. Yeah, it seemed pretty 80s, cheesy 80s.
Yeah, it was released in 1980.
Which that has nothing to do with like. There's some great effects from that era. It's just like the disturbing stuff comes from more like the realism of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the only
Okay.
time I was like, okay, if you were to tell me that was real, was the
Yeah. Yeah.
the impaling scene. That genuinely, I was like, okay, that looks real.
Yeah.
Also saw a film called Inside, which came out this year, starring Willem Dafoe. It's about
I
an
see.
art
Yep.
thief that gets stuck in what appears to be like a house that has all this famous art in it that he's trying to steal, and he gets stuck there, and he has to like just survive the elements of that. It's really interesting. As a lover of art and going to like art museums, it really spoke to me on some kind of personal
Okay.
level. I
Wow.
wouldn't say it's worth watching because nothing really happens, but just something about it was just one of those things where it's like where you see a really cool piece and you don't know what it means, but you look at it and you go, this affected me. I don't know.
Well, and I mean, Willem Dafoe is Willem Dafoe.
He's great.
Yeah,
he's great.
He's great.
Brain Dead, also known as Dead Alive. Yeah, this Peter Jackson classic.
It was a
splatter,
fun time.
a splatter, milestone. Great characters, just incredible effects,
Wow.
legitimately funny, and balls to the walls. This movie does
it
not
was a pretty
let
crazy
up.
film. If you're interested in it, it's free on YouTube. So just look it up and you can watch it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Other notable stuff, real quickly, saw some classic Scooby-Doo films.
Oh, as you should.
The
Awesome.
Witch's
Awesome.
Ghost.
The Witch's Ghost is the best Scooby-Doo film, and I will die on that hill.
It's definitely one of the meets Batman and Robin is my personal
Yeah,
favorite.
that one. That
Oh,
one.
It's
okay,
definitely
okay,
it's
there we go.
My second favorite.
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase was another one I watched.
Fantastic.
And I
Yes.
finally watched Donnie Darko.
Oh, I've been wanting to get your opinion on this movie for a long time.
We will end the day with my thoughts on this film.
Yes.
I thought I wasn't going to like it in like the first 30 minutes. I was like, okay, this is really screaming like, I'm super pretentious and I got a lot to say. I'm
Right,
going to have these
right.
teenagers act like dipshits. Like, I did not like the characters for
Yeah.
most of it. When they introduced a lot of like the time travel
Yeah.
and the cool twist of the film at the end, definitely saved it for me. Where I was like, okay, this is pretty interesting. The film has a lot to say. I just don't think it really elaborates on anything. It's kind of
So-
one of those throw it all at the wall and see what
There's a
sticks.
sequel film.
Okay.
I've heard it's awful.
There is a sequel film that is awful. It's called S. Darko, and it's from his little sister's perspective.
I
But
think my favorite thing was the romance between Donnie
that
and
was
his gal. I
that
thought it was super
so
cute.
good because even though him as a character is
'Cause she-
obviously psychotic, he still cared
Well,
for her.
and she like never held that against him. It
Never
felt
did.
very genuine. Jake
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal
and she
is
was
great in the role. It's cool to see a young
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen played a serious role. He wasn't funny.
Oh, he has like 2 lines.
Right, right.
He's too late. But
He
he's
still has the laugh in there though. The laugh still creeps.
Yeah.
And then Spencer from iCarly.
Jerry Trainer.
Jerry Trainer.
Yeah.
Little young Jerry Trainer, his first role as well, with like 1 line. Patrick Swayze is great. I love quick role, but he was great in the film as this like televangelist spokesperson that's secretly holding a
child predator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, I like the film. I give it like a light 7.
It's great.
The concept was legitimately interesting, and I think it had a lot to say. I just wish it elaborated, and I wish it didn't rely on edgy, like we're going to have these characters say shitty things, cuss the whole time. It's like, we've seen films do that much better. I think this film's kind of riding the coattails of those.
Well, but those films that you're talking about, look at them coinciding with the release date of Donnie Darko. I think Donnie Darko was a little bit ahead of its time. Because okay, I'm just gonna pull it up just so I am not lying about.
It came out in 2001 though.
Yeah.
Like, think of how many, like, The Outsiders.
Fair.
That's 80s.
Fair.
Like, teen movies are nothing new. What this film does is how it portrays mental illness. I think is more ahead of its time. And I think it's just, its concept of time travel and sci-fi elements were really cool. But the teen film, like, overlay, I think, was unnecessary. It just didn't interest me like the sci-fi elements did, I think. That's where I stand. But it's a classic. I gotta respect it, and I think it legitimately says a lot of different things. But I don't think it's the masterpiece that some
Right,
people
okay.
is.
See,
You 5 out of 5 it.
I 5-starred it. I genuinely, going into it, I was like, okay, this is a little melodramatic, even for my taste, because Chaz knows that I'm the king of melodrama. But once it was over,
I think the biggest takeaway is how it deals with mental illness.
Yeah.
Legitimately,
Okay.
I really liked it.
like, once it was over, I was like, I now understand why that movie's a masterpiece. But yeah, to end everything off, we once again want to pay our respects to those who we talked about at the beginning of the show who have passed. But yeah, Angel, do you want to plug anything you're working on that you would like to plug, or plug your
Any
socials?
parting words of wisdom?
Let me see. No, I can't really think of anything else. If you haven't, please watch the SpongeBob SquarePants movie Rehydrated. It's been out for like a year or so.
What,
But
4.6
even so,
million
it's great.
views?
Well, on
4.7.
I just checked recently. It's like 4.7 million on YouTube alone.
And so, were you also a part of Sponge Out of Water Rehydrated?
No, some of the team,
Came back.
yes, like some of the team who are working on that are also, but I'm not directly involved in that. No.
Great. Well, I mean, you did a fantastic job with it. I think
Thank you so much.
I thought that it was great. Like, I mean, shot for shot, line for line, reanimated
Right.
and revoice acted. It was such a huge task to really, like, when you think about doing that, it seems like such a mountain to climb. But you guys did such a beautiful job. And it
Absolutely.
deserves every view that it gets. And I want to thank you
Thank you
for
so much.
having that contribution. So
Thanks for being
course,
on our
absolutely.
yeah, and thanks for
Shitty
being on the
show.
show as
Thank
the
you.
the first guest on Quality Not Included, and hopefully we can have you on again in the future. But
Thank you so much.
yeah, so thank you guys for watching episode 4 of Quality Not Included. Episodes 1 through 3 are out now on our YouTube channel, which should be linked below. I'm not sure. I should probably check on that. But then again, thank you, Angel, for coming on. Thank you guys for
Thank you.
watching, and we'll see you next time.
All the best.